think your LLC makes you bulletproof? As a business attorney, I've seen countless entrepreneurs learn this lesson the hard way. There are 4 critical gaps in LLC protection that could leave you personally liable for thousands or even millions.
There are some things that an LLC is great at protecting you from, but then there can be hidden gaps that leave you personally liable, especially if you make some key mistakes. This video is going to talk about those things and make sure that you're as protected as you can be. Let's talk about what LLCs can do to protect you. Business debt. If your business, not a personal guarantee, if your business takes on a debt and then can't pay it, the business is going to be liable for that debt. You won't be personally liable. Contract disputes. If the business enters into a contract and for some reason doesn't deliver on that contract, or there's a dispute about the delivery of it, then the liability would be with the business. Customer lawsuits. If a customer sues, they're unhappy. You did go into the beverage market and you sold, beverages under your name. A customer, something happens, the customer would sue the business entity. Highly unlikely they're going to sue you as an individual. And then employee issues. If you've gotten to the point where you actually have employees or independent contractors and something happens with them, they will hold the business liable. There is some caveats to that. And so let's jump right into that and what an LLC won't protect you against. Personal wrongdoing when it comes to employees. If you harass an employee, sexual harassment or other harassment or age-based discrimination or whatever else it is. There are plenty of these stories about personalities, about stars who do terrible things. That is not going to be protected by your LLC. It was your personal wrongdoing. Professional malpractice. If you are, like me, you're an attorney, right? You can't hide behind your LLC or your professional corporation. You are going to be held personally liable for that malpractice. Personal guarantees on the debt side. It's hard for a business to get a debt in its own name where it's only liable, especially when the business is just starting out. Almost everyone from a credit card to an SBA loan to a personal loan, or you're going to be required to give a personal guarantee. Now, the first liable party is going to be the business entity, but then the guarantee says if the business can't pay, then I will pay. So you're going to be on the hook. You can't shirk that responsibility. If you don't pay the taxes, if it's a business entity, it's an LLC that's a partnership, or it's a disregarded entity or an S corp, if there are tax obligations and you don't meet them, the LLC is not going to be the one the IRS comes knocking on its door. It's going to be you personally. So it's not going to protect against these type of claims. So you really need to be careful. Don't be a terrible person, right? If you got a personal guarantee, realize you're on the hook, all of these other things, making sure you understand sort of the contours and the limits of limited liability protection. Now, thinking about where the gaps are, how you can be held personally liable, even in that first set of situations that I talked about. And one of them is going to be something called piercing the corporate veil. Even if it's an LLC, they call it corporate veil. Corporate veil piercing varies from state to state. In some states, it can be pretty easy to do, especially when it's a single member LLC. And so you need to make sure that you're protecting against that by making your LLC not just an extension of you. It's not your alter ego. Your business stands on its own. It has its own bank account. It pays its own expenses. It's got an operating agreement. It keeps meeting minutes. And another one is it has adequate capitalization. If you're zeroing out the business bank account every month and it doesn't have enough money in the bank account to pay its own expenses, then you may be subject to a veil piercing due to inadequate capitalization. They say that veil piercing is a remedy that's available, but it should be used very cautiously. But it really depends a lot on how many LLC members there are, what activities you engaged in, and who was harmed. So you have a very sympathetic plaintiff, someone who's harmed by the company's actions. A court may be more likely to allow for that veil piercing. So what do you do? How do you do this? Well, the good news is it is in your power to really diminish the likelihood of a veil piercing event occurring. Proper maintenance and compliance for your company. Keep it in good standing. Make sure you've always got your registered agent is updated and actually working for you. Make sure you've got the proper documents. You've got those meeting minutes. You've got the operating agreement. You've got insurance for your business. If you're selling a product, you should have products liability insurance. If you've got real estate, you should have landlord real estate insurance. If you're just going out and making statements to the public and maybe you make an error in your advice, you should have E&O insurance. So talk to an insurance professional about what type of insurance you may need based on your business and what it's doing. And then finally, making sure you have access to best practices. What do you need to do on an ongoing basis to maintain this LLC? Just good corporate governance, talking to an attorney, talking to an accountant and other professionals to make sure that you're really ticking those boxes. And a lot of this stuff, I like to say, it's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. And hopefully no one ever sues your company or never tries to pierce the veil. But if they do, you're going to be very well positioned to rebuff that attack. It's not something you think about when liability happens. When there's a lawsuit, it needs to be a part of your ongoing business practice. So for additional resources, one of the things we talked about here was this operating agreement. And stay tuned in the next video so you make sure you understand what should be in that operating agreement and how you can make it deliver on that limited liability protection you're seeking.